Hi everyone, it's Zach from OddConceptMedia, here again with another fun unboxing. Or should I say enveloping? Is that right? I don't know. Anyways, I have a little bit different video than normal. If you couldn't tell by my setup, I have a card to show you all that I picked up to add to my collection. Before you say to yourself, please tell me he didn't buy one of those Marvel cards everyone's going crazy over. Yes, I did. This was definitely an unusual purchase for me. As you can see, I don't have many cards in my collection. I have 2 sketch cards from an artist I like named Erwin Ropa that does incredible work, and the others are just cards I ended up with after testing out Upper Deck's new online trading platform. I bought a few packs for fun and traded to get the physical cards of some of my favorite characters. So I picked up an interesting card that I wanted to run a little experiment with that I thought might help some other people out because I couldn't find a video of someone else's experience doing the same thing. I was able to get an SGC graded 1990 Marvel Universe card that I intend to send to PSA to try to get them to cross over into a PSA Gem Mint 10. Now, I will be completely upfront in that this is my first time ever doing anything like this. As I said, I don't really work with cards too much, and I've never gone through PSA or any card grading company for that matter. This is sort of all for fun and to hopefully provide some helpful information for others that might be looking to do the same thing with their cards. So, I will say what I have found when doing research into crossing over a card from one grading company to another, and that's a lot of disagreement. I read that some people say, yes, definitely cross over into PSA whenever possible because it will increase the value of the card. I've also heard arguments the other way that SGC graded cards will hold more value in the long run. I've heard people completely against crossovers in general and say that it is a scam and that you have a far greater chance of getting your desired grade on a card by cracking it out of the case and sending it in as a raw. Again, I'm completely new to this, but I will say that I disagree with that mindset. I understand that if you do this for a living and have cracked open cases before, that may be the best route, but for a complete newbie like myself, I just feel the odds of damaging the card at some point during the process are far too great. Okay. Now that I've conquered the dreaded bubble mailer, let's take a look at the card. That's right, Marvel Series 1, number 65, Mr. Sinister. I picked it up graded at an SGC 10, which brings me to my next point. I'm sending this in for a crossover and setting my minimum acceptable grade at a 10. People might think I'm crazy because for those that don't know, if PSA evaluates the card and decides it doesn't meet the criteria, they won't cross it over and I will still be charged the full amount, but the card gets sent back to me in the SGC case. To me, this is key because although I want it in the PSA case for several reasons, I think it would be silly to sacrifice my card already graded at a 10 for anything lower. I give an example of a video I saw on YouTube where a dealer sent a 10 in to PSA for a crossover and never entered a minimum grade and ended up getting the card back at an 8, which I think most people would agree they would rather have kept the 10 and either sold it as is, kept it for their own collection, or tried sending it again for a reevaluation. I've seen people say they have sent the same card in multiple times and eventually it got the grade they wanted. But that seems expensive, especially if you're not a PSA member like myself and plan on just doing this once as a fun little experiment. I think this card looks amazing and would be shocked if it doesn't get a 10 from PSA, but I do understand where people are coming from with saying that it is rare to get a 10 crossed over, because from PSA's standpoint, they're not just handing you free money if they know those cards are selling for much more on the open market. Like I said, from everything I've seen with the Marvel Universe sales, it definitely seems that the PSA cards tend to sell for way more than the other grading companies' cards. I may be wrong, but I thought I read that PSA just updated their slab, so maybe that also plays into it. I also like the red on the PSA label, which for most of the cards I've seen doesn't really do much for the presentation, but it actually accents nicely with the red that's in the artwork on the Sinister card, so that's appealing to me as well. I also wanted this card because I'm a big Sinister fan and have been dying to see him in a movie, which I keep getting my hopes up on with films like Logan and New Mutants, but it's sounding more likely that he might actually get to make his debut in the MCU, which would be awesome. The card also pairs nicely with my Uncanny X-Men number 221 CGC 9.8 that I've been holding on to for a while. For those that might not know, this is the first appearance of Mr. Sinister, so I think it's a cool little set to have both the card and the comic. Well, I'm gonna get this card boxed up according to PSA guidelines and sent out tomorrow. I'm sure it will be quite some time before I get it back with how bombarded PSA must be right now. I'll try and give some updates when I can for those that might be interested, and I'll make an unboxing video once it gets back to see if I was able to successfully cross over an SGC 10 into a PSA 10. Thanks for watching, everyone.